Imagine you're looking at a red ball, sitting right there in front of you. It seems simple enough, doesn't it? A child's toy perhaps, or just a random object. You can describe its color, shape, and weight. You can measure its circumference, calculate its volume, and even determine its density. These are all tangible, measurable qualities. Science explains the atoms and light waves, the very building blocks that make up the ball, and the way light interacts with it to produce the color we perceive. But what about redness itself? What is it about that specific wavelength of light that causes us to experience the sensation of red? Is redness simply a physical property, or is there something more to it? Or what it means for the ball to exist? What does it mean for anything to exist, for that matter? Is existence a property that objects possess, or is it something else entirely? These are metaphysical questions, questions that delve into the very nature of being and reality. Ones that dig beneath the surface of our everyday assumptions, challenging us to think critically about the world around us and our place within it. Metaphysics is the branch of philosophy, a discipline that has been grappling with these fundamental questions for centuries, that studies the fundamental nature of reality, exploring concepts like existence, time, space, and causality. It seeks to understand the underlying principles that govern the universe and our experience of it. Aristotle, one of the most influential philosophers of all time, called it first philosophy, recognizing its foundational importance. Because it deals with the most basic principles, the bedrock upon which all other forms of knowledge are built. It's the starting point for any serious inquiry into the nature of reality. While a physicist studies the laws of motion, describing how objects move and interact, a metaphysician asks what matter is. What is the fundamental substance that makes up these objects, and what are its essential properties? While a historian studies events, meticulously documenting the past, a metaphysician asks what time is. Is it a linear progression, a cyclical phenomenon, or something else entirely? Does the past, present, and future exist simultaneously, or is only the present real? Metaphysics is about clarifying the concepts, the fundamental building blocks of our understanding we use to make sense of the universe, the very tools we use to navigate and interpret our experiences. Like object. What exactly constitutes an object? What distinguishes it from its surroundings? Property. What does it mean for something to have a property? Are properties inherent in objects, or are they assigned by us? Cause. What is the nature of causation? How do we know that one event caused another? And time. These seemingly simple concepts are actually incredibly complex and have been debated by philosophers for centuries. This isn't just academic, it's not just an abstract exercise confined to the classroom. It underpins all other knowledge, providing the framework upon which we build our understanding of the world. By ensuring our foundations are solid, we can be more confident in the knowledge we acquire and the decisions we make. Every time you assume the future will resemble the past, a fundamental assumption underlying all scientific inquiry, or that you're the same person as yesterday, despite the constant changes occurring within your body and mind, you're making metaphysical assumptions, whether you realize it or not. These ideas are woven into our language and thoughts, shaping the way we perceive and interact with the world. Studying metaphysics means becoming aware, bringing these hidden assumptions to the surface. Of these hidden assumptions and questioning them, subjecting them to rigorous scrutiny. It's about learning to think clearly, to analyze and evaluate arguments, and to form your own informed opinions about the most fundamental aspects of your experience, ultimately leading to a deeper understanding of yourself and the universe you inhabit. Metaphysics, the exploration of ultimate reality, began its long and fascinating journey in ancient Greece. It was a time of intellectual ferment, where thinkers dared to question the very nature of existence. The bustling agoras and serene groves became the settings for profound debates that would echo through the ages. It all started with pre-Socratic thinkers like Thales, often considered the father of Western philosophy, and Heraclitus, who famously declared that everything flows, emphasizing the constant change and flux of the universe. These early philosophers were searching for the fundamental stuff of reality, the underlying principle that governed all things. They sought to understand the cosmos and humanity's place within it. Plato, a towering figure in Western thought, took it further, arguing that the world we perceive with our senses is just a shadow, a mere reflection of a higher, more perfect reality. This concept is famously illustrated in his allegory of the cave. This higher reality, according to Plato, was the world of perfect, eternal forms. These forms, such as justice, beauty, and goodness, were the true objects of knowledge. True knowledge, he claimed, comes from grasping these abstract forms through reason and contemplation, not from sensory experience, which he considered unreliable and deceptive. This radical idea set up a lasting debate. Are universals real, existing independently of our minds, or are they just concepts, mental constructs with no objective reality? The very term metaphysics comes from the arrangement of Aristotle's works, specifically those writings that followed his books on physics, hence, the things after the physics. It was a label applied by later editors, but it perfectly captures the subject matter, exploring what lies beyond the physical world. Aristotle, Plato's most famous student, disagreed with his mentor on many key points. He believed in grounding reality in the tangible world of individual objects, the things we can see and touch. He introduced fundamental concepts like substance and his famous four causes, a framework for understanding how and why things come to be. Material, formal, efficient, and final. To explain why things are as they are, from the smallest pebble to the grandest temple. Aristotle's focus on concrete reality, on empirical observation and the study of the natural world, provided a powerful alternative to Plato's idealism, offering a different lens through which to view the universe. These two paths, Plato's idealism and Aristotle's realism, have shaped metaphysical thought, and indeed the entire course of Western philosophy for centuries. The fundamental questions they raised about being, existence, and the nature of reality remain central to philosophical inquiry and debate today, continuing to challenge and inspire us. In the medieval era, metaphysics became a tool for understanding God, the soul, and faith. Avicenna distinguished between a thing's essence, what it is, and its existence, that it is, laying groundwork for debates about creation and necessity. Thomas Aquinas used Aristotle's ideas to argue for God's existence, blending philosophy and theology. The problem of universals, do general concepts like redness exist independently, sparked fierce debate. Realists said yes, nominalists like William of Ockham said no, universals are just names. Occam's razor urged simplicity, don't multiply entities beyond necessity. This push for theoretical economy shaped both philosophy and science, streamlining metaphysical inquiry. The scientific revolution replaced Aristotle's world of purposes with a mechanical universe. Descartes split reality into mind and matter, creating the famous mind-body problem. How do they interact? Spinoza rejected dualism, claiming mind and matter are just two aspects of one substance, God or nature. Leibniz imagined the universe as made of monads, windowless points of perception, synchronized by God. He also introduced the idea of possible worlds. British empiricists like Hume challenged rationalist metaphysics, arguing that causality is just a habit of mind, not a logical necessity. We never perceive causal power itself, just one event following another. Hume's critique cast doubt on many traditional metaphysical concepts. Metaphysicians, those intellectual explorers of the unseen, tackle fundamental questions about existence, the very nature of being. They delve into the bedrock of reality, probing what it means to exist and what constitutes the universe around us. Ontology, a core branch of metaphysics, asks what it truly means for something to be. It's not just about acknowledging existence but understanding the properties and categories that define different kinds of beings. They debate whether abstract objects, those intangible entities like numbers, mathematical concepts, or even moral principles, are as real and substantial as physical ones that we can touch and see. Do numbers exist independently of our minds? The universals versus particulars debate is another central theme. This explores if properties like redness, largeness, or justice exist independently as universals, or whether they only exist as instantiated in particular things like a red apple or a large building. Space, time, and change are central to metaphysical inquiry. Are they fundamental aspects of reality, existing independently of us, or are they merely mental frameworks, constructs of our minds that help us organize our experiences? The problem of identity over time is a particularly thorny issue. What fundamentally makes you the same person as your childhood self, despite all the physical and mental changes you've undergone? What persists through time to maintain your identity? To address this, philosophers propose theories like endurantism, suggesting that objects are wholly present at each moment of their existence. Alternatively, there's perdurantism, which views objects as extended through time, like space-time worms, with different temporal parts existing at different times. Causality, possibility, and necessity are also key areas of investigation, exploring what fundamentally links cause and effect in the universe. and what range of possibilities exist beyond our current reality, and what is ultimately necessary and unavoidable in the grand scheme of existence. These intricate debates ultimately shape our fundamental understanding of the very structure of reality and our place within it. Metaphysics isn't just academic, it's woven into science and technology. Physicists debating time or quantum mechanics are doing metaphysics. The scientific method itself relies on metaphysical assumptions like the uniformity of nature. In AI, building a machine that understands the world requires creating an ontology, a metaphysical model of reality. Psychology's mind-body problem and debates about personal identity have real-world implications in medicine and law. Even building scientific models involves metaphysical choices about what's fundamental. Abstraction and idealization in science are forms of applied metaphysics. In this sense, every scientist and engineer is a part-time metaphysician. Metaphysicians use logic, reason, and analysis. Their laboratory is the mind. A priori reasoning explores reality using principles known independently of experience. Thought experiments, like imagining philosophical zombies, test the limits of concepts. Conceptual analysis breaks down complex ideas like truth or identity into their essentials. The goal: clear, precise definitions that withstand scrutiny. Naturalized metaphysics argues that philosophy should be informed by science. Competing theories are judged by simplicity, explanatory power, and consistency. The best metaphysical theories explain the most with the fewest assumptions. Metaphysics has always faced critics. Hume doubted concepts not grounded in experience. Kant argued we can only know the world as it appears to us, not as it is in itself. Logical positivists claimed metaphysical statements are meaningless unless empirically verifiable. They saw many debates as just verbal disputes about language, not reality. Yet, metaphysics persists. Its critics' positions often rest on metaphysical assumptions themselves. The verifiability principle turned out to be self-refuting. Even attempts to dismiss metaphysics end up making metaphysical claims. Its questions are too fundamental to ignore. Metaphysics keeps returning because it's central to our quest for understanding. Why bother with metaphysics? Because it's the intellectual foundation for all other thinking. It examines our core concepts: reality, identity, causality, time, ensuring our knowledge isn't built on shaky ground. Metaphysics teaches us how to think rigorously about the most basic things. It stretches our imagination, challenges our assumptions, and cultivates wonder. The questions it asks, about mind, free will, and identity, are deeply human. Engaging with metaphysics connects us to a centuries-old conversation about existence. Curiosity drives us to ask what the world is and what our place is in it. Metaphysics is the boldest expression of that desire. For any student of philosophy, it's the heart of the whole enterprise.